BBC Radio Derby, hello, I'm Rachel. Happy Saturday to you. Now, I saw something this week that made me go, what? That's brilliant news. Doctors across the country may soon be able to prescribe therapeutic art or hobby-based treatments for people with all sorts of health conditions, including dementia and mental health issues. The plan, which was announced by the British Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, this month, could mean that patients are enrolled in dance classes or singing lessons or enjoying a personalised music playlist. But are these activities really something that can help people with quite complex illnesses? To discuss this with me is art therapist Marta Perestrello from Art Therapy Derby. Good morning, Marta.
Morning.
So I was really excited about this. I was thinking, finally, we're getting, we're looking at something beyond a specific illness. As an art therapist, what does this mean to you hearing this news?
I love the idea that art and the creative arts and creativity in general is being seen and recognised as part of the care and health continuum. So it's great that is introduced and recognised as an important part of the well-being. So it can only be good.
I mean, it's obviously something we crave, isn't it? I mean, we've been creative. We are creative. We like to make and do. Yeah. So I suppose that must extend to this. What does your work as a therapist involve, Marta?
So I'm an art psychotherapist. I work in private practice in Derby. I see children, young people, adults and professionals, and I do support also other companies that work with children and yeah. So
and how do you use art?
Art is a therapeutic tool in the therapy process. So art therapy is a form of psychotherapy, which is a therapeutic intervention that uses art to facilitate the expression and to help to build up on the relationship between the client and the therapist. So it's a tool that has many components to it and can facilitate many different things within the therapeutic context. And
right. So is the art to a degree a sort of intermediary between you and the patient, a sort of buffer?
Yeah. So to some people, having counselling or therapy just on a one-to-one, on a face-to-face and just verbal can be quite intimidating, and the art is there to facilitate that interrelationship, but also it can help to facilitate expression of the client, and it can bring self-awareness, because it by doing art, and not just by the art product but the actual creative process, it can bring it, in touch with us and to really see what's coming up, So it has many benefits to the process of the therapy.
Talk to me about a little bit more about how you use art in that process. I mean, as somebody who's never had art therapy, many people listening won't have had any kind of therapy. How do you introduce the art? How much is it used? Is it the patient making the art themselves, or do you use other art? Well, how does it work?
It can work in many different ways. Art therapy is often proposed to the patients, and I see a lot of my clients are children and people who have suffered trauma. So art therapy has been introduced to them as a good form of therapy intervention that could facilitate some of the expression, because to both of these client groups that I work with, children and young people and people who have suffered trauma, the language can be a hindrance in the therapeutic process, because either they have no language to express what's going on for them, but also, especially with trauma, the parts of the brain that are impacted by trauma that affects the verbal communication, So trauma is not stored verbally. So the arts can help people in the therapy room, and I have all the art materials available to everybody, and I've got lots of toys as well. So it is the creative process and the play and the interaction between me and the clients that brings something that can then be put into words. So
sounds like a wonderful way to unlock things that are hidden.
It can be quite quick, but it can be also be less intimidating.
So going back to this proposal that art and more broadly other sort of artistic practices could be used, how do you think people will receive this? Do you think people just want a pill? Do you think people want a quick fix, or do you think people will be open to this?
I think some people, for those who need the pill, and definitely they should have the pill, and this should never be in replacement of any other form of treatment. But there are, and that's my understanding of what I've read of this news, and there has been pilot studies all over the country and in other countries as well, where the need for going to the GP and the complaints and when they're not well is more of an emotional and social basis difficulties rather than physical or mental. So I see that there is a room for that area where people need to have a social and emotional connection and development, where there's no need for medical interventions such as pills or other forms of therapy, that just having the recommendation to do arts or sports or a hobby or an activity that not only helps them to get in touch with themselves but gets in touch with the community and get them out of the house, and it can only be good, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, thank you very much for your time, Marta Perestrello. I'm saying that right, aren't I? Good. I was worried about saying your name wrong. It's been a fascinating chat. Thank you so much for coming in today. Thanks. Bye-bye.